The Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.
Hello and welcome to another great episode of the Great Debaters Contest. I am your host, Austin Nyambok.
And I am Mariam Bishar.
Should children have legal obligation to their parents after childhood?
And the two debate giants facing off will be the reigning champs, Moi Forces Academy Lanette, and they want their opponents to be very wary of them. And Light Academy will be opposing, and they wish their opponents all the best. The first proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Mutua Wanjiro Esther is my name from the Moi Forces Academy Lanette, here to strongly propose this motion that states children should have legal obligations to their parents after childhood. A child is someone who is easily influenced by the attitudes and behaviors around them, or simply a young human who has not attained the state of being called an adult. Should is a modal verb indicating that something is right to do. To have is to possess. Legal is something permitted by the law. An obligation is a legal or moral duty that an individual can be forced to perform or penalized if they fail to perform. A parent is one who begets, gives birth to, raises, or nurtures a child. Childhood is the state of being a child. Albert Einstein once said, "Life isn't worth living if you're not living it for somebody else." Simply, giving children a legal obligation to their parents after childhood cultivates in them not only a sense of responsibility, but also a sense of gratitude. They will know that they cannot go out there and squander all their wealth, flavor it out, all out away, because they know that they have parents who are looking up to them for emotional support, financial support, and all these things. Also, I don't want to sit back and break out into that regretful moment when I realize I have lost my heart of gratitude. Simply because there was nothing holding me back to these parents. There was nothing holding me back to the past. There was no obligation, specifically no legal obligation holding me back to them. Not necessarily that I hate them, but why go back to them if there's nothing holding me back to them? Children will also lose their sense of culture and a sense of tradition. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you're coming from? A phrase from the book River and the Source by Margaret A. Ogola. They need to have a sense of direction. How many children have we seen who immediately after childhood, they cut off all connections they have with their parents? They switch off their phones, they ignore their mails, they lock their doors so that their parents cannot be connected to them. Chapter 4, Article 43, Part 3 of the new Constitution clearly states that the state shall provide appropriate social security to persons who are unable to support themselves and their dependents. This means that let's consider the children who live in Turkana who cannot be able to support their parents. They will be fully catered for under this clause in the new Constitution. Also consider the child in Northeastern who may be traumatized by the things that are happening around them and may not be able to cater for their parents. They will be fully catered for through this. Sir Derek Wanless warned, according to the Daily Mail, that the amount used by the government on elderly people will greatly increase from 10 billion to 20 billion euros each and every year by 2026 if there's nothing else done to solve this situation. Now, this will also be imposed on the taxes that we citizens pay. And who would want to pay for the responsibility that another person did not take care of? Someone else did not take care of their parents, and thus you end up paying for that. I mean, would you want this? And when you can simply take care of your own parent. I believe the course of the world is changed by those who have a dream. I may not be a Martin Luther King lookalike, but rest assured he lives in me, because I have a dream that you will remember me one day for this. Thank you.
Opposing team, you have 3 minutes for your opening statements.
Standing in front of you is Ahmed Mohammed Abdullahi from Light Academy, ready and only willing enough to oppose the motion that spells children should have legal obligation to care for their parents after childhood. First of all, to start with the definition of the motion. What's a legal obligation and who qualifies to be a parent? A legal obligation is a law that forces people in a certain region to comply by a certain rule. And a parent is a person who takes the parental responsibility and care to a child or a young person. Childhood is the period between the birth of a child till the age of 18 averagely in the world. This policy was first of all adopted in Central Europe in the 1500s as a result of the European governments trying to find balance between justice and democracy. It was also as an outgrowth of the Elizabeth Poor Law that was adopted in US states like Alaska, Maryland, and California in 1601, according to the Wikipedia. This policy carries a multitude of shortcomings that range between outrageous and tragic. It leads to the rooting of socialism fundamentals. Justice has no scope, as the saying goes. And in pursuance of social justice, it won't be far when similarly justified laws would appear, such as obligating the rich to support the poor and neighbors to share everything. It also undermines social democracy and the ethical principles of freedom, allowing the government to directly impose social laws and set moral obligations that interferes with the smooth practice of democracy. This policy creates a tensional environment in the family. Love and loyalty are never legislated. Therefore, the love, affection, and the moral bond in the family would be substituted by a legal, rather forced bond. This will lead to social vices, such as what happened in India, in Mumbai, on 21st March 2010, when Vimal Patel murdered his both parents and committed suicide simply because he could not fund his parents, as the law was forcing him to do, that was adopted in India in 2007. Finally, when facing complex equations, complicated solutions are as worthless as the problem itself. As nature dictates, whatever that is necessary is insufficient in itself to bring about a better world. This policy, despite its attractive appeal, should not be accepted. I rest my case.
Cross-examinations. We may begin with the proposers. You have 3 minutes.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, but I am highly allergic to the rumors being spread by my opponents. Well, I may be a lady, but I definitely have a man's ego to stand firm by my conviction that parents are the pillars that stabilize our lives in the situation you are right now. Well, Maseke Miriam Rioba is the name from the Moi Forces Academy Lanet, a protagonist for the motion that states children should have legal obligation to their parents after childhood. Ahmed Mohammed, when I got into this hall, I saw you as a prospective husband. My Prince Charming, but if living with you will mean that I can't take care of my parent, neither can you take care of yours, I am out, because I cannot live with the guilt. Well, let me tell you some little detail about India that you did not read. According to the Microsoft Encarta program 2009, the government of India tried to support its people on its own ever since independence, but it did not work out. That is why they set up laws that would ensure that the government, together with its people, would support their elderly. You talking of Central Europe and the Elizabeth Law, which, point of correction, is the Elizabethan Law, shows me that you boast little acquittance to what you're talking about. Our youth have a nonsensical slogan, YOLO, you only live once, and they do no less, spending their money on fun, drugs, and all non-meaningful kinds of fun. Well, you want facts? I'll give you some. Masaku 7s, Dala 7s, Meru 7s, Watamu 7s, 777. What is up with the 7s? A research according to the National Statistics in the UK showed that 667 elderly people are dying from dehydration simply because of negligence. 157 are dying from malnutrition because of negligence. You know why? Because we've left them to the power of those at the nursing homes. Seriously, are you an African? If you are an African, you will know that you are obligated to take care of that elderly person until they die. You do not leave them to sorrow and agony and negligence. Oh, it hurts my soul. But anyway, I can see that everybody is thinking alike, and it means one thing: somebody is not thinking. Let me serve them the agony of complaining about their financial strains, which, trust me, you are in a very good position, by telling them that on legal obligations, it doesn't have to be about money alone. You can offer emotional support, and also you can offer social obligations, which, by the way, will be a means of preserving our African culture. Do you want to know why? Research shows that due to too much urbanization, our children are losing their roots, but these will be a way to ensure that the old give the treasured moral values to the new generation. Well, I rest my case.
Opposers will not get your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes.
Gratified thanks expressed to the panel of judges, my fellow proposers, and to the audience members at large. Lest one not forget where they come from. Otherwise, there will be dire consequences. Words passed to us since time immemorial, and words that still drive most of us to our upcountry homes so that we can share what we have with our parents. Again, morally obligated as it should be, and I agree, obligated it should stay. First, to come to what the fellow proposers said. At one point, the second proposer said that Ahmed would not make a good husband because he would deny her the right to see her parent. First of all, let me say, we are not against the care for the elderly parents. You are simply against the baseline of the motion, which states that this is a legal obligation. It should be morally obligated. And to something that the first proposer said, you stated clearly that it will create some responsibility within the person. Is responsibility something that is forced to you by law? Or is this something that you sit down, you decide to do because it is something that you wish to do to help out your aging parent? It is the duty of the state to take care of their elderly, as proven by many constitutions around the world. This law has only been legislated by a certain few countries: India, some states in the USA, Taiwan, and many others. And now I come to you and tell you that the government, simply because it's supposed to take care of their people, and then you tell me that it should be legally based so that we can be able to take care of our people. That's absurd. The law failed in England, as the law failed in England over 500 years ago. But even more closer to history, on 29th December of 2007, India legislated this law, apart from the two provinces of Karishma and Juma. And after that, the law failed. Why? Because it's still the highest level of unemployment, not in the world, but still it's significantly high, and the number of senior citizens living there is significantly high. Again, you say that these people in the UK, they died because of dehydration and such ailments in their lives. Well, I just say to you that these people were neglected. And honestly, why can't they be taken to a home where they can be cared for? Does this have to be on a legal basis? I ask. We all know well that children do not choose their parents. I, for one, am from a single-parent family. My mom has worked hard to get me where I am today, and for that I am forever grateful. I accord my respects to my father, but he hasn't been around. Should I also be legally obligated to him, despite what he has done? Or isn't it a choice that I am supposed to make for myself? Again, you say that we will remember you for many things. For sure we will. You are our Oprah Winfrey. But you might as well call me Barack Obama. Thank you very much.
Mi weka pesa kwa M-Pesa kisha nacheka utadhani mimi wanafuma pesa toka jua hadi mvua hii track na rarua in favor of M-Pesa.
Take part in the M Challenge by sending your short song, rap, or poem about Safaricom M-Pesa on WhatsApp, and you could win 1,000 shillings in Safaricom airtime.
Good afternoon all, I'm Faith Vugutsa from Starry Girls. I'm asking the proposers that if you force me to take care of my parent who maybe never took care of me when I was young, won't I kill my parent so that I don't take care of him or her?
Kimani Ann, Loreto Limuru. Don't you think, yes, it's moral, accepted that we should take care of our parents, but laws have to be there in order, for us to be able to take care of our parents.
May we have the third proposer take the stage?
Ivy Sirumangaira from the Moi Forces Academy Lynette, as the queen of the jungle, will never be subjected to eating grass, even if there's famine. It's not pride, it's just who I am. So I still firmly propose the motion that states children should have legal obligations to their parents up to childhood. First of all, before I go to the question, I have clearly noticed that my fellow opponents boast no acquaintance to their hearing skills. My fellow proposer said that the prospective husband, Abdul, will not allow her to care for her parents, not see them. The question from Starehe Girls Center. You said a situation your parents never took care of you. I pray that you may get a heart of forgiveness and learn to forget. And as they say, your past may be dirty, but your future is spotless. That's how God sees us and how we should see others. Yes, if you don't take care of your parents, your children will kill you, so you can also kill your parents. These are moral ethics in the African tradition. But once they are legalized, they will be reinforced, making it easier for parents to be taken care of by their children. The implementation of this law will ensure that the youth are instilled with a sense of responsibility, in that they will have to enhance their creativity and indulge in career opportunities to manage to support their parents. The government, on the other hand, will gain in this endeavor, in that the money that was previously used to manage homes for the old and retirement homes will now be channeled into other useful sectors of the economy, like the management and the building of roads. It will be like killing two birds with the same stone. They say, a fair man without virtue is like mulled wine. The implementation of this law will ensure that the African culture is kept alive, the African values, because the bond between the grandparents and the grandchildren will be kept alive, making it easier for the African values to be instilled in the coming generations. People demand the freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought, which they seldom use. Don't you feel terribly empty in your skull by opposing this motion? I can't oppose the fact that you're given a choice of life and death. But did you know that once you choose to oppose this motion, you've already made a choice? And I'm not ashamed to tell you that you've made a choice of death. A judge knows nothing unless it is told to him thrice. So I, as a third person, will not get tired to propose the motion that states children should have legal obligations to their parents after childhood. Thank you.
The opposing team, you also have 3 minutes to respond.
For many of us, understanding the difference between service and disservice seems to be a luxury that we cannot afford. And it is now clearer to me that the Cold War between realities and imaginations is not yet over. To answer the first question that was asked by Kimani Ann, wouldn't this law be obligating me to take care of my parents? Yes, laws are there. Moral laws are usually there. But don't we defy them? This is my response to that. There has to be a balance between the right of the law to allow people to live comfortable lives and the right of the law to intervene in people's private lives on behalf of society. If I condemn you by law to take care of your parents, believe you me, you won't do it to the best of what you can do. The second question was asked by Vanessa from Bishop Gatimu. But unfortunately, it seems that she already has her answer. Because she answered herself. Why do I say this? She asked us, I will be legally obligated to take care of my parents. I will take care of my parents. That is in Africans. That is in our blood. But does it have to be a legal bond, a legal forced obligation for you to take care of your parents? Can't you think in your own and come up with that? Feel love and dedication to your parents? Must it be a legislation passed in parliament? I don't think so. The third proposer talked of, let us forgive our parents. Unfortunately, this just seems hypocritical to me. It is in human blood. We just don't forgive that easily. My parent, especially my father abandoning me, does not sink in my mind that easily. You better come and see Salif for more information on that. Secondly, she also talked of African instincts being instilled by this law. My question is this: must it be illegally done? Can't we come up with this morally? Education, moral obligation gives us that feeling that we have to provide an intellectual and suitable environment for our parents. It must not be a legal bond. Thank you.
We'll now get closing statements from both teams, beginning with the proposers. You have 1 minute.
Vanessa, he asked a question. Didn't you think right? Well, I have an answer to your solution. You thought right. You see, lightning travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear so bright until you hear them talk. Well, I think they should do some soul searching about what they really want. Because opposing such a motion is telling your parent point blank, well, yeah, you helped me get where I am today, but so what? Well, I have an answer to that, so what? So you should help me too, because it will reach that time where I can't even make my own decisions. I will need somebody to help me, and I trust you because you're my blood to do that for me. Well, to those who call me a dreamer, a true man is the man who follows the path where duty lies, not advantage as they do. This is the only practical man whose dream of today is the law of tomorrow. This is the man who has seen this people sitting and crying in cauldron of ages and knows that, without exception, the future lies on this side. That's the side of duty. Think about it.
Opposers, you also have 1 minute for your closing statements.
Insult, but as men, we digest it and act like ladies. Laws become more complicated and involved in people's private lives, and as we evidently see in this law, there has to be a balance between the right of the law to intervene on behalf of society and the right of law to allow people to live comfortable lives. And when such laws are applied in the wrong manner, as we see in this motion, consequences are always catastrophic. And this is exactly where this law is leading this society and clearly portraying injustice. Do not forget that insanity is repeating the same thing over and over. This same law was applied in Europe in the 1500s. Probably 600 years ago, it failed. But unfortunately, because we are Africans, we still want to apply the same law. It is impossible to stand alone against the fallen. But if you are in pursuit of raising all the fallen, then dig deep, reach. Thank you.
Esther, at some point I got confused about what side you were on. I had to look up to ensure that you're not on the side of Light Academy. Miriam, very good use of nonverbal communication, facial expressions. You're a great public speaker. Ivy, good, but all the best to the two teams.
Light Academy, Ahmed, beautiful. You see, what I remember about you is love and loyalty are never legislated. Salif, again, very intelligent. You're extremely bright. You know, thinking on your feet rather, it's a mark of a great debater. Mohammed, time cut you short. You really had much to say, and you also wanted to respond to the questions. Possibly it is race against time. You should try and ensure that you are just working within the time frame.
Mohammed, you shock me every time you get to the stage. That's something I have to say. However, I think time was not on your side because you did have much time to give your summation, which we're anticipating here as the judges, because we know you as a great speaker. However, the momentum was great, and I think you're still a great speaker. Keep up. So all the best to the two teams.
The reigning champions, Moi Forces Academy, did very well. They got 69%. Please give them a hand. However, they were outwitted by Light Academy, who have 74.9.
And from all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest, I am your host, Austin Nyombok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. We'll see you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.